Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hands-on CISO podcast. My name is Adi, and today we'll be talking to Maxim Mošarov. Max is both the CEO and founder of Whitespots IO and CISO of Salmon Group. I don't often see CISOs doubling as founders, so this is going to be really interesting. Max, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
So before we started recording, you were telling me about your company that you started. So can you tell everyone how did it happen that right now you're both a CISO and a founder?
Yep, sure. So I worked as application security engineer or manager. I'm not sure what's better to say, because when you work as application security manager, you are engineer as well. So you have to prepare some sort of tools and then prepare some sort of processes, and you have to deal with policies, you have to deal with awareness sessions, you have to deal with some sort of threat assessments, with the requirements preparement, with scanners and DevSecOps stuff. Then you have to work on incidents. So as application security manager, you have to talk to a lot of teams, a lot of people, and it was a strange situation for me. When I realized that people in QA function, they don't communicate often to other teams. So, for example, one QA was not able to tell me what's going on, like in another team, and it was clear to me that security function has like more overview on all of the processes in the company, and so that was my first flag. Let's say that it's going to be interesting, and I have to grow as CISO. Then I just realized that I do like the same things from one company to another company, and I've started my consultancy services. And the main difficulty is that I started it in 2020, so it was early February, I think. Yeah, and like in a month. The lockdown started, and people were not sure about their careers, they were not sure about their companies, and 20 calls were like, okay, that's interesting, we could work together, but we are not sure about our budget, we are not sure about our economy, we are not sure about everything. If we are alive in a year, let's connect once again. Okay, and then I've realized that I have some friends. I can go to them, and they could be my first clients. So then they can refer me to their friends and so on. And at some point, we had 25 employees at Whitespots who did some sort of consulting services, and we had some service agreements with many companies. And what was the problem? I don't want to make one more EPAM or one more Luxoft or one more like big company like PricewaterhouseCoopers. I don't want to be their competitor because no. You have a lot of risks, and sometimes someday you're gonna have this problem about quality, and I didn't want it. So the problem was to make reviews of what people are doing, and they did some problems for some companies which I had to deal with after. So yeah, that's why I don't want now to have these consultancy services. So that's why we are a software company right now, and we have developers, QAs, we have DevOps engineers, we have different functions, but they make the portal, like application security portal. And like what I wanted to say here is that first you have to have your great team, which you can rely on. Then you have to have this sort of overview to be able to like tell people what's gonna be in different situations, because when you're a CISO, for example. Okay, and I'm answering about. I'm answering on this question, like, what are expectations from CISO, and what are your like suggestions for young CISOs, for example. Yeah, so you have to establish a good team. Then you have to establish your own overview on processes, on project management, on some things people will ask you, and you're gonna be you have to be ready for some questions like. Max, by your experience, what's better, this one or this one? And you don't have any experience at all. And you have to choose between these processes, but maybe not between them, but maybe introduce your own. And people will always challenge you about like with these sort of questions. You have to be open. You have to be like fair enough as well. You have to say that, okay, guys, I don't know this particular problem, but let's dive into it and think about it. Like, let's have a brainstorm session. Let's I'm not sure. Let's go to podcasts. Let's listen to people. Let's connect to someone, and like think about this problem and come up with some sort of solution and write it somewhere to not to forget, and use it as a guidance for like next questions, next similar questions. And someday you're gonna have this knowledge base. Someday you're gonna have this sort of good team, and everything will be fine. Just relax and take this ownership, and like be ready to change your mind, be ready to hear, because people will tell you what they need, and you gonna secure it. So when people want to connect to production services, I'm not gonna say anything about Salmon, what we do there, but as a CEO and Whitespots of ex-consulting company and now software security company, I'm gonna just say about my clients. So you could establish some sort of tools. You can implement a teleport. You can implement other tools to connect to them, and they will provide you the access to some sort of production databases. You could establish it in this way. You could say that developers are not able to connect to any databases in production. You could say that it's the only allowance for it's only allowed for DevOps engineers, for example. It's possible to say that it's allowed for everyone, but you are monitored, you have corporate laptops, you have everything recorded, even keystrokes. So don't buy anything online from your computer. So there are many ways to do it. You have to decide what's better option for you. So that's maybe the biggest challenge in CISO role, to understand what's better in your situation. But there are chats, there are people in LinkedIn, there are people everywhere. Just pick up someone and ask him oh, hey, I don't want to sell you anything. I just want to ask you. I have this situation. What's going to be your opinion? So that's it, I think.
Amazing. And so you talk about what you do now and how you got to it, but how did you even start looking? How did you get into the security field in the first place?
Oh, it was yeah. It was a long time ago. It was actually 10 years ago. I just Googled how to hack something, and the video on YouTube was about sniffing some traffic, and I just tried to hack my college, or what it was it, and I've just got the connection to cameras, and I've reported to our security team, not security team but engineering team, and they told it to guys who had configured it, and they were my teachers on the next year. So it was really hard to learn Docker without any documentation at that time. like in 2014 or maybe 2013. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was at that time when people didn't realize that it is not virtualization, it's containerization, and you have to write Docker files. You don't have to put everything in virtual machine, and it was hard for me to learn Docker because when people were dealing with their homework on virtual machines, I was dealing with Docker. It was hard for me because I was that guy who had some problems with them. Yeah, so that was my introduction to security. And
Nice.
yeah, after that, I've just joined a large security company in Russia. It's called Positive Technologies, and we've it was really fun actually. I was seeking for job for 20 hours a week, and they had this position for me. And the only thing they asked me to do is the test, and the test was write some vulnerable application. Okay, I thought my PHP application at college is vulnerable anyway. Yep, I had a job. Yeah, so after that, we've validated issues with neural networks. Uh, we've worked on SAST and DAST tools. We've worked on WAF, and that is that place where I got my experience. And I think I'm reusing something right now in my platform because we are working on neural network, which will validate vulnerabilities for you. Yeah, and then after 1 year working there, people, guys just told me that we don't need the R&D function, so we have to get rid of you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your experience and for this awesome year. Yeah. So after that, I've just joined the bank team, pretty the same one which I'm working with right now, because they are ex Tinkoff team, and I joined the Tinkoff that year. So everything is about your friends, about your connections, about your relationship with people. If you are okay to speak normally, if you are okay to uh, like to not be a toxic man, it's gonna be easy to kick off your career. Yeah, that's
How
first point.
how hard or easy is it to get your first CISO role?
Uh, yeah, I think it's hard because you expect something from this role, but people usually don't expect anything from you. They don't know how to hire a CISO. So you should look at this situation from both angles, from your and from the company's. So if the company had no CISO before, it's maybe better to ask them, have you ever worked with CISO? And if they say that okay, we didn't have any security before, so now we are kind of ready to hire someone to start something. Okay, that's one situation. You could tell them your experience and how you can help them, and maybe you could find some match. And if they had CISO before, they definitely have some sort of expectations, because if that CISO was not okay to work with them, maybe he resigned from his wish, but maybe they wanted him to resign, and you have to ask them about it, like what problems you had before, and what are your expectations. Maybe they want to hire someone just because they have to hire someone, because there has to be CISO somewhere because the regulator wants it. But maybe they want you to, for example, to uh, make the application security function stronger. Maybe they want you to make infrastructure security function stronger. Maybe they want to finally describe all the policies and procedures. So they want you to do something on purpose. So you just want to know this purpose. Yeah.
So you were saying it's very different when you join a company that already had a CISO versus a company that is just getting one because now they grew enough that they need it.
Yeah.
Interesting. And when you're in the CISO role, because you have like two hats, but when you're the CISO, do you deal a lot with education, like educating the team, telling them what they can't do? How does that look?
Oh, okay. um, okay, that's open. That's open information actually, because you can Google it and like scan this. So we use Microsoft, and Microsoft is a really cool platform to perform, for example, phishing indication. So we perform phishing simulations just because we want uh, we want some chaos, for example. So in security team, we are sitting in like uh, we are living in the same area in Serbia, in Novi Sad, and we are working together often from cafe or like from co-working places. So we are connected, and we meet each other every time, and there are no schedule. There is no schedule. We just sit somewhere, and we think like, let's make some chaos. Let's make some chaos. Okay, and we press some wizard buttons, and we have phishing simulations every month or every week. It depends, because attacker has no schedule. Yeah, and that's how we do phishing simulations. And now I'm gonna switch back to Whitespots' previous experience, because I don't want to reveal this from someone's perspective. So you have some sort of LMS solutions, learning management systems, uh, because in banking you have LMS, which is loan management system. It's very hard to match the context with the financial guys. So okay, you have learning management systems, and they provide you the content, or some of these systems provide you the way you could put your own content there. So you can record your own content, or you can find it on the internet and just combine your own module and just publish it in this learning management platform, which could be, for example, iSpring or Easy LMS or whatever else. There are a lot of such solutions, and then assign this training for developers and for other functions. This system will track them, the system will ping them, and so on. Compliance is really happy because you have to have some sort of recordings and audit logs that you've conducted these trainings. But developers and other functions are not happy, because they have to go to this platform, spend some time on some strange courses, and you like the better option is to test people. If they pass some score, you don't have to assign the training. If they don't pass the score, they are yours. So you could like assign the training, ping them, whatever else. So that's the approach I want to be implemented in every company, actually, because in this way you can train people easily, and it's scalable. You could have some sort of webinars as well, but it is painful to find this time slot. But if it is approved by management, or you are this approver, for example, you can just put this time slot in every single calendar and record this session, and, for example, assign this recording as a training in LMS solution. So yeah, that's how you can do it.
Interesting. And what do you think is one of the biggest challenges in cybersecurity today?
Um, as a CEO and founder of Whitespots, I could say that people are not open to any sort of automation, and people are not familiar with, let's say, current approaches. And if you are CISO of any company for 20 years, and that's just okay for you to sit in this role and get your money and relax, take some coffee or tea like every morning and get your salary, maybe that's not a problem for you. But that's a problem for CEO actually. But if you are working with them for 20 years, doing nothing, and it's just fine, that's not a problem. But at the same time, CISO has to provide some sort of controllable metrics, controllable state for developer or for developers, for management to answer to this question, like, Max, what's our security state? That's okay. For example, I could say, but they could ask me, okay, and now it's okay, but is it better than yesterday or worse? And I could say it was better yesterday. How can I measure it? So I have to establish metrics system. I have to measure everything to understand to where security could go, where we could expand our like power, and to do so, you have to understand some sort of basic things, what you could establish, what you could measure, and measure it, and like grow, and be open to like any solution, any automation, any scoring system, anything. Like now I'm CEO and founder of Whitespots. I see this problem like in 90% of our organization. And as CISO, I see the challenge to combine all these metrics together, because there are some systems like Tableau, like Metabase, like Grafana, for example, here as well, where you could put every single metric from your application security posture, from your awareness program, from your infrastructure security, and from what else? Data protection. So 4 main domains. From physical security as well, and from people. Yeah.
How do you decide what are the metrics that are most important to keep track of?
I decide. I don't think I decide. I think we decide in our organization. So I am talking to CEO and CTO and other roles, and we are looking at most convenient metrics, because when you, okay, I have let's switch back to Whitespots. We have a metric for application security, for example. We have weighted risk trend. It was introduced by Hewlett Packard actually in 2010, and we have this presentation which you can Google, 5 KPIs for security. It is under OWASP right now. So they had this approach. You can measure, or you can map your quantified to qualified. So you can match 1 to low, 2 for medium, 5 for high, and 10 for critical. For example, you can put whatever else there, and summarize your findings, your risks, or whatever, what has any sort of criticality, and then you can multiply it by business criticality of this particular asset for which you found these findings or issues or whatever, and then you gonna have this weighted risk trend which you have to track, and which you have to assign to product owners actually, to not to overcome some sort of risk appetite. So for example, you have a product with 5 repositories, 1 domain, and 2 Docker files, Docker images. You have this weighted risk trend, which equals to 100, for example, and your risk appetite is 200 per product, and overall this risk appetite is 1000. So all products should not overcome 1000, and each one should not overcome 100. So this is the KPI for product owner, and at the same time, every single vulnerability should be closed in 20 days, 8 days, and so on. So you have SLEs for developers for every single vulnerability, and at the same time, their count should not overcome this risk appetite. So we drive this from Whitespots, but this could not fit into our understanding in Salmon, for example. Okay, that's not a problem. We can track vulnerabilities and some sort of fixes in another way. There are many metrics offered by vendors, so that's what I wanted to say. There are a lot of approaches, and not all of them are okay for you. Maybe it's okay for you to measure this WRT in money. Maybe it's okay for you to measure it just in pairs, we could say. And maybe you don't have to do it because you have zero bug policy in your organization, like somewhere. Yeah, because you don't have to track this WRT if you have no issues in your production, because you have quality gate, and you don't allow merge requests because you have found something.
Have you ever heard of a company that has no issues?
I've heard about a company who has a lot of issues, but it has zero tolerance bug policy. So
Interesting. What does that mean?
yeah, they have a huge backlog, a really huge backlog. They don't deal with it, but they don't allow any new issues on production, and they get rid of these vulnerabilities from time to time. Yeah, that's actually the average situation with any company who just started the process. Yeah.
Interesting. How do you keep updated on what's important and how to not add new vulnerabilities that you didn't think about before or didn't exist before? Like, how do you stay updated?
I'm not. Okay, yeah. I'm just joking. So there are news, there are chats, and if you see, for example, Log4j, it's gonna be on your desk like in an hour. If you see a CrowdStrike problem, you're gonna see it if you have CrowdStrike. You have updates from vendors. If someone has a data breach, they will inform you. If they not, it's gonna be a jail case somewhere. So that's why you are updated more than enough. If if there are some vulnerabilities, just update your tools. They will inform you. If there are some data breaches, vendors will inform you as well. That's basically it.
Interesting. Do you find the CISO role to be a stressful role?
Uh, that's interesting question. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. I would say usually not, but but sometimes yes. Uh, when it's stressful, for example, you have an audit. At the same time, you have another audit, and at the same time, you have a backlog, and your team is busy, and you have to deal with these two audits alone, and you provide some sort of answers, but they're not so qualified, for example, or they have a checklist and you have to say yes or no. But that's not about yes or no. we are somewhere here. And you put yes, and you have some, how to say, evidences about this yes, but they doesn't satisfy auditor, and they don't satisfy you as well, actually. But yeah, that's the most stressful part, when you have to show something to someone, and you like your license or your future depends on it, for example.
Interesting. So you're saying like the most stressful part for you is when there's an auditor or an audit heading up and maybe there's a lot of things to do and sort of yes to everything, but also not 100%.
Yeah, and you tell them this information, and they go through the checklist. Then you start the conversation, and you realize that they just don't understand you. They don't understand that do you guys have? This is not about salmon. Like, do you guys have Google? Uh, Yes, we have it. And do you use the Google Workspace admin controls? So do you secure your Google admin panel? And you say yes, and at the same time, you have a lot of findings. So you kind of have this control, but on 20%, for example. And there are some softwares like Vanta, for example. They help you to work with auditors. I've not used it before, but I know this from other guys. Maybe if someone from Wanta will look at this podcast, they will contact me. Yeah, and they can help you to work with auditors. You provide the interface for them, and this software gets proofs for them. But the problem is that you cannot automate everything, and if you have let's say if you have a technical control, it doesn't mean that you have a policy, process, whatever. And the problem is that one provides you the proof of evidence, proof of technical controls, as far as I know. Maybe not. And yeah, for these type of audits, I would use this sort of automation as a new approach, for example, which came up 1 or 2 maybe years ago. And for documents, I would find something as well. It's really painful. And I have this pre-filled questionnaire just to copy-paste answers. But the problem is that people formulate their questions differently. And sometimes you have a question about penetration testing. Sometimes you have a question about VAPT, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing. Yeah. So, and this is not so, let's say, stressful, but that's something you are worried about, because audits are not designed without any purpose. So if you want to apply for cyber insurance, for example, you have to pass their audit, and you have to pass their audit for a better score, and you're gonna have the discount. So that's why it's maybe better to find the evidences as better as you can.
Got it. So you're saying it's annoying, but there are you can get help with it, at least to some extent. And just so we're almost out of time, and I have one last question to ask. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing everything you know. It's a very interesting perspective. Someone who's also a CISO, but also has a company. So what do you think this field is going to look like in a few years? What is going to be different? What is going to be the same?
Let's see. Because 5 years ago, it was different situation in the market. You can see some posts on LinkedIn from old CISOs who could say that it was really hard to be CISO 10 years ago. You had to be an experienced guy. You had to have 10 years of experience. You had to have some certificates or whatever. And now it's not like this, and you can meet CISOs very young, 23 years old, 25 years old, and what has changed? There is a market, and there are a lot of software as a service startups. There are a lot of education startups. There are just a lot of startups, and you have to secure them. And yesterday's engineers, they are CISOs now. That's not a good trend, actually. but okay, I'm ex-engineer as well, and I could say that's not a good way, a good trend. Yeah. Why? Because if you don't have GRC system in your mind, if you don't have an understanding of what people expect you to do, you don't understand which controls you have to implement and which risks actually you have. Because there are compliance risks, like we can apply for a new license, we can I don't know, open a business only if we fulfill these regulatory requirements. Which one? We have a company in Dubai, we have a company in New York, we have a company in California, for example, with another laws. We have a company in Germany, and we are Forex startup, for example. Not a startup, we are just Forex business. Because this is not much you can actually do in Forex to be a startup. So you have a Forex business, it's really regulated, and you have a lot of regulators, and you have to fulfill their requirements. So you have to get the list and do something with this. From my perspective, it's good actually to map these requirements to ISO controls, and then just implement ISO controls and then track other obligations with this mapping. Someone thinks different. So someone's opinion maybe on this to get requirements and fulfill the requirements requirement list, then take another one and just fulfill it, and so on. So you have to have this systematic approach as a CISO, and if you don't have it, if you if you cannot, for example, say no to people, like we have this, we need your approval. No, I just don't have time on this. I have to deal with another stuff which is more important, and you could go to this person because I've delegated this function to this person. You have to delegate, yes, and these skills you have to establish before you go to the CISO job. If you are an engineer, if you're young, you want to have another role into your CV, you could go probably, you could dive into this problem and resolve it and just add your role into CV. But being at CISO is not about your CV. It's not about your roles and so on. It's more about business continuity. It's more about overview on some processes and improvements, and helping people in HR department, in security, in IT department, in whatever department, in compliance department. So there are a lot of areas, a lot of aspects of their work, and you have to help them in terms of security, of course. Maybe not. And you have to do it in a more systematic way. You don't have to unfocus. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.